Hey, today we are working on a new container image so that we can create persistent metrics for aquaculture metrics over time, like information about a fish population over time, information about fishing boats and the number of times they go around every time they fish. So we're fixing some Python requirements for this application and testing out the container image. So I just did a Podman build of with the tag computate.org / persistent metrics zookeeper latest and the current directory. So when I do this, it builds the image, tags it. Now let's try running this image with podman run -rm to delete the container after it runs, and then expose a port 8081 so that we can test out the metrics endpoint. And this is the name of the image that we just built, computate.org / persistent metrics zookeeper latest. So let's see if this runs. Okay. All right, so it's not able to connect to the zookeeper, but that is to be expected. If we need to configure that manually. So if I check my smart aquaculture environment variables and I grep for zookeeper, then it's going to show me what the port is to connect, because we already have zookeeper running in OpenShift local on our computer, and we have a node port open to connect to it. So what we have to do is in our podman run command, we need to use this as the host name. So when we run this app, it asks for zookeeper host name. Now, I should totally know this, but I think that when you do podman run --help, I think we're looking for the -v. Oh no, that adds volume. It's environment env. Okay, set environment variables in the container, string array. All right, so let's do this. We do -e zookeeper host name equals, and then console-OpenShift-console. And then maybe we do a comma and we put zookeeper port. Paste that in. And the port that we use is over, oops, here. And it's going to be 30081. I go back to this tab and put that zookeeper port in and run this. Connection refused. 2181. Okay, so I guess I did that wrong. So let me do another -e, zookeeper port equals 30081. Okay, connection refused. Use SSL false. Curl. Try this myself. Port 30081. We get an empty reply from the server. Oh, okay. So Podman is being all secure. I think let me just ask the internet how to allow Podman container to access local ports. To map the container's port 80 to the host port. Binding to a specific host interface. Use host networking, network host, dash dash network host. I think that's what I'm missing here. So let me try that. Okay, now it's running and connected. So what I should be able to do at this point is check the metrics. So if I curl localhost colon 8081/metrics, then it output some info here saying that somebody made a GET request to /metrics. And you see some metrics that already exist here. Fishing trips, boat ID is boat 1 with the number 3. And another one, test metric, key 1, colon value 1, key 2, colon value 2. The number is 16. So that is working. Excellent. Now, so this container works. So let me kill this, and I'm going to add this command to the README, and then others will be able to do this too. So let's put this in the README. Run the container with Podman. Whoops. Hash. I'm going to split this out on multiple lines. So I add backslashes with some spaces and add all of these environment variables on their own line. All right, so this is the complete command. Podman run --rm to delete the container after it runs, -p to expose port. Oh, let's see. I always forget how this works. Podman run --help -p. Whoops. -p port. Publish a container's port or a range of port to the host. Default. It doesn't even tell me. I always forget. So let's just troubleshoot this. So if I do 1801, does this still curl? Oh, that I'm using host networking. So I think that we don't even need this. Because it just goes straight to the container. So yeah. On local port 8081. Okay. So now we got that. Let me set this up in Quay.io to automatically build, because I don't think we already have it configured. So we'll show you how to do that. I create a new repository. I give it a name, persistent metric zookeeper. I switch to my computate org, and I make this public. I link to a GitHub repository push, create public repository, and then what it does, it lets me select which repo it is. So I go to computate.org, computate-org, and then on GitHub, and then select persistent metric zookeeper. So I paste that in here. It doesn't show it. Oh, that's not the right repo. It's in NERC images. And then, hey, there it is. Persistent metric zookeeper. Oops. Oh, don't click on that. That'll mess you up. NERC images, continue. Persistent metric zookeeper, continue. Trigger for all branches and tags, continue. Continue. Docker file is slash container file. Continue. The context is going to be slash continue. Specified Docker file path for trigger was not found because I haven't pushed it up yet. So then I press continue, continue. All right. Now it should be ready to go. It's on the build page. So now if I go and add this commit, hit add-i a, I'm going to add the container file, readme, and app.py, and update these requirements because the Python dependencies changed. Hit commit. Adding container file and readme.md. Hit push. Now quay.io or k.io will do a build, but sometimes the page doesn't detect it. So I'm going to do a refresh. And there's my build. It's in progress. It shouldn't take too long. And then the exciting thing is we'll build this into a container, and then we can use it in OpenShift. So while that's building, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to AI telemetry now because we're going to use this in AI telemetry too. I built it for smart aquaculture and AI telemetry. AI telemetry has, let me think, local cluster, cloud setup.
Does smart agriculture and AI telemetry have the same number of spines? Is that a realistic question?
Oh, well, okay, okay, so if you want to know that detail, then you go to telemetry, and what you do is we can run bin slash WC AI generated, and this shows 290,000 AI generated lines of code or spine program lines of code. And then if we go to aquaculture and we run bin slash word count AI generated 249,
Wow.
290 versus 249. So aquaculture is catching up, but it's not as big as AI telemetry.
Mm.
But that's not saying it's bad. It's just
Hmm.
whoever has the most models. And then the handwritten 5,527 total for smart aquaculture, and then AI telemetry. If you do handwritten, this is 9,754.
Mhm.
Um, but there are more developers working on AI telemetry at the moment, so that doesn't surprise me.
Okay. Awesome.
So,
Is there ever a need for this to be a report or hit a dashboard? Is that ever a need?
right, I was trying to think of how to make this kind of like a maybe even something that shows up on the homepage, like
Mhm.
because if you divide these two numbers, calc, if I do 9754, and then the AI generated was 290169. Let's see, divide. So that means we only had to write 3% of the code by hand. The other 97% was spine programmed for us automatically,
Amazing.
which is a huge savings
Yeah.
in time. If you reverse this and you do 29169 divided by 9754, that means we're 29 times uh, more effective spine programming smart aquaculture than we would be writing this by hand.
Awesome.
So you could spend 30 years writing the smart aquaculture platform, or you could do it over the past year like we did and
It's
be much better
amazing.
off.
Amazing.
That's the advantage of spine programming right there. And it's
Yeah.
safe because we are not infected by the horrible, horrible worms and viruses going around related to um, Shai Halud and
Hmm.
the React, or no, it's like it's the React critical vulnerability and the Shai Halud 1.0 and 2.0 NPM worms were not affected by that at all. So
Awesome.
we build safer than that with spine programming because it's all about building it yourself. So all of this code is built
Mhm.
with love by us. So it's pretty
Awesome.
exciting.
Awesome, man. That's exciting. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
29 times. Ooh, we gotta start marketing that.
Yeah. So look, we got our image completed and pushed. Now we have this image available online. It's public. So here's the latest. I guess I'll put that in the README too, maybe. There we go. Or run the latest from wait.io. I'll just put it there. Uh, right. So the next step is um I was just gonna copy this prompt keycode proxy. Wait, no, that's not where I wanted it. Want it here. Um, persistent metrics, zookeeper. Can delete this. This one's gonna be simpler. delete, delete. All right, persistent metric zookeeper base. We don't have external secrets. We don't have routes. We do have a service. So services, I'm going to rename this to persistent metric zookeeper. Update this customization file, and then go into the service, name this persistent metric zookeeper. It's going to be the app. The deployment is going to be persistent metric zookeeper. Let me think. Does this specify a namespace? I'm going to make the namespace be zookeeper. We'll just put it in there. I think that will make sense. And then the port is 8081 this time. 8081. Now we go to the deployment. We rename this to be persistent metric zookeeper. We update the customization file to be persistent metric zookeeper. We update the deployment and rename all the param key-click proxy to persistent metric zookeeper. And we'll take a look here. This is all fine to do rolling one replica, template metadata name, persistent metric zookeeper, container, persistent metric zookeeper. We don't need this cloud auth. Let me check what the zookeeper hostname and port will be. So I'm going to log into OpenShift local. I'm going to go back here. OC-N zookeeper get SVC. This is the service name that we're going to use. So I'm going to copy this here, and where we ran this, we got to do zookeeper hostname. It's going to be zookeeper-client. And zookeeper port is going to be, we got to put this in quotes, but 2181. And that might be all we need. This reminds me, we need to go into the prom key-click proxy and update this deployment to use the official image and not my fork of it. Let me check what image we're on. 2.3.0 is the latest. So update that while we're at it. Okay. So it's going to be computate.org, persistent metric zookeeper, colon, latest. Let me make sure that's right. Okay. And then we will do a health check to curl /metrics, localhost colon 8081 /metrics. Make sure that succeeds. And then we don't need these volume mounts. We don't need these volumes. Just a simple deployment. Okay, let's try this out and see if it works. So I want to open up OpenShift local and go to workloads, pods, switch to the zookeeper namespace. So zookeeper's running here as well as the zookeeper operator. We're gonna add one more deployment and pod here. We go to a telemetry OC apply -k OpenShift local persistent metric zookeeper and do a dry -run equals server. Okay, so we got an error that we need to fix. So let's take a closer look at this. Deployment services, customization. Deployment services, that looks good to me, but yeah, open to local persistent metric zookeeper. Unable to find one customization in directory. Local source AI telemetry opens with local persistent metric zookeeper. Oh, base slash base. Required value spec template. Spec template metadata labels. So let's look at the services. I feel like there's another way to do the labels. Look at narcosp config labels in a customization file. So, or I'm sure I have examples in computate GitOps labels colon. This is how we do it. I go back to service. I grab these labels. Add them here. And then what we can do is check that these are applied. So we do customize build pipeless labels. So the labels appear in the service now, and they appear in the deployment there and there. So I think we'll be good now. If we try this dry run again, yep. Now we can do it for real. And then come back to the browser. You see it's creating this container instantly. So let's jump into this pod and check the events. Everything looks good. It's just pulling down the image. Um, you know, the prom cake proxy had a route, and I actually want to add that as well here. So copy that name, go to routes, rename this, and rename it here. Go to route. Let me think. So they had a base and an overlay in there. So maybe I should do that as well. Overlays, local cluster, customization, patches. We don't need this external secret patch. We don't need this deployment patch. Well, I think this is overkill for our use case here. So I'm just going to go to the route and make this be route host persistent metric zookeeper dot apps crc testing still container creating. Okay, and then it's going to be that, and then the service is going to be system metrics zookeeper and target port http redirect. All this looks good. We just need to add routes here. Routes. Then we reapply this, and then it creates a route for us. Now this is taking a long time to pull the image, but I don't see any errors, so that's good. Hopefully it finishes soon, because I would like to try it out at the new route. So if we go to networking routes, you see this persistent metric zookeeper route. It's going to be available at this URL. So if I was to curl this, curl dash K, I think it's lowercase k for insecure, because this is a self-signed certificate. Then we do slash metrics, and what we would see is an empty, we'd see no metrics at all because we haven't put any metrics in there. So we're still waiting for that container to create. Um, okay, what I want to do is add a new variable inside of computate vertex related to this new service. So this is going to be persistent metrics zookeeper host name. And port. And SSL, which is a Boolean true or false. All right, so we have these new fields here that we're going to use across projects. That's why I put them in computate vertex. We do a maven clean install. And build this. Okay, we have that now. Still container creating, no worries. We got other stuff to do. We got to bring this into smart aquaculture now. We have some digital twins. Let me close out all these files and move that to the side and then go to fish population ENUS API service simple, where we implement our digital twin. Actually, okay, we're gonna do it there too, but actually what I want to do is fishing boat dot or ENUS API service simple, where we implement the fishing boat digital twin. So every time the boat goes around, uh, well, okay, actually, I got plumbers coming over, so we better wrap it up here. So we'll continue this
Okay.
and
Well, Chris, thank you for your time. Amazing, man. This is awesome.
yeah. Okay, to be continued tomorrow.
Okay, see you
Have a great
tomorrow.
day.
All right, you